Hello, Mr. Taylor, Mr. Plastodon. Jesse, hello. I just finished replying to your email finally. Oop. Okay. Where's my There it is. There we go. Okay. So start of the stream. Still need to do my daily practice, so we're gonna start with that. And then knock out at least a little bit of continuing the training thing for the sweep picking that a video correspondence student asked me about. That's what I spent like an hour, at least an hour last week doing that. We're not going to spend as much time on that. We want to get to some more topics this time. I wasn't expecting it to take as long as it did, but of course, everything in the creative process always takes way longer than you think it's going to. I'm not really surprised by that anymore. It's like, yeah, of course it did. Okay. There's Gamera. Boom. Okay, that's moved. So got to keep the practice nice and short since that's not the main purpose of today. God. So I got to try and beat this 226. So I'm going to probably do what I did last time yesterday and basically work this up as the eighth note triplets until I get to 120. Drop it back down to 60 and then work it up in 6 notes per beat. I feel that'll give me better sense of timing. Better sense of timing. No, it's probably me just not putting my face in the right spot. If I talk into it directly, does that help? I need to get a compressor for this thing. I wonder, well, maybe, hang on. I just put something else on. I wonder if that helps. Maybe. I don't know. I keep forgetting I gotta have my face right in front of this thing. All right, metronome time. But yeah, I need a compressor because it is pretty quiet. And if I just take if it's not in front of my face, it goes away. It gets really quiet. A reverb? I have no idea why that would be happening. That's strange. Huh. Now that one I'm stumped on. I have no idea why that would be happening. Does anyone else hear reverb? Let's see. Is there a setting here I could change? No, loop back mix. That's what it's supposed to be. Well, crap. I don't know whether mic is on. Okay, good. All right, let's get into the practice, and then let's get on with the things. See if I can beat this. I can't count. I'm playing it 3 times instead of 4. real break. It's pretty dang, well, almost about where I was yesterday. Yeah, I'm an old man when it comes to guitar. E standard almost all the time. I have one guitar in D standard, mainly for lesson stuff. I have a baritone guitar because, for the really low things. I'm just not used to the motion. The speed for sure. Goodness. Oh, wow. Metal Mark, he purchased all that stuff way back then. Well, I hope he got some use out of it. Thank you for the purchase. Okay. Let's try this damn speed again. This one's kicking my ass. Alright, I basically got 2 BPM faster. Fuck it. I'll take it. I'll take it, I'll take it, I'll take it. Probably should just go up into ones, but you know. God, that's a fucking awful picture. That's why it's in the mix. Blech. Why did I forgot to turn off the getting set up. Son of a bitch. One of these days, I'll remember exactly what to turn on and turn off and all that. Blech. Okay, let's knock out this progression thing. And I was surprised I didn't hear from the student who asked about this week. I don't know what happened. I usually hear from him. He usually turns things in. Hopefully he's fine. Alright, Patreon lessons. There. That's not what I wanted. Uh-oh. Where the hell is it saved at? Oh, here we go. Okay, so that's It's like 2 and 3 string. Okay. Save as 2 and 3 string A minor. So now I'm going to do save as 4 string A minor. Did that. Okay, metronome time, that is off. Lesson writing time. Turn that off. It's the reset from the B to the E string that's tricky. Yeah, just that, the it's just those 2 upstrokes in a row. Now, if I did, what was the other one? Would be a bit easier if it was 2 downstrokes in a row. Be really easy if I could just do a dang pull off. Oh well, going through his rudiments. Oh no, you lost all the download files. Well, that's not good. Tell you what I can do, because like all that stuff is hosted on Patreon now. Send me an email at the John at the Metronome method. I can get you a gift for some free Patreon time, because everything's hosted on that now. Because I'm gonna be, there's just too many problems with the program I use to make those instruction courses. Because, like, YouTube videos are no longer playing on any of the downloaded stuff. And apparently YouTube changed something to where you have to be online for things to be viewed. I don't know, all kinds of security crap. So, like, all the old stuff, it wouldn't even work anyway. First, I was hosting a lot of stuff on Vimeo. And then that was a problem. Because that stuff wasn't loading properly anymore. It's like it loads online, but it won't load for anything that's downloaded. But yeah, send me an email and I can get you a Patreon gift so you can go check things out again, use it again. But then I'd also like to be able to keep it all online from now on anyway, so this way I can continue to make updates. I'll make it a lot more easier to update. Okay, so what I need to do, we're doing the 4-string things, and also over here, Soyun. That's what I felt yesterday with your tremolo picking, being able to get up to 235. That's very good. Couldn't get past 195. That happens. Yep, that's true. Making progress with guitar is up and down, up and down. Okay, so that's step 1. I'll just say step 1 for the 4-string stuff here. All right. So 4-string sweeps. These things are weird. Odd things happen while doing them. You know what? Let me have the other one open just for reference. So we're going to have all downstrokes for this. It's technically an A minor over C. That's not what I wanted to do. Here we go. Okay, double that up. It would make more sense if I made this actually a 6/4. Yeah. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so that'll be the start there, and then, yep, we'll copy the same text for it. That's a good thing. All right, so the next, we're going to go up and down at one spot. Was your college professor Charlie Brown? Yeah, I remember somebody sent me an email saying that their videos were no longer loading or playing on a downloaded purchase. And so I was scrambling, trying to troubleshoot and figure out what the heck was going on. I was like, oh, that's nice. It doesn't load for anybody. It was so strange. Like, it plays when you view the thing online, but downloaded, nope. Well, that's great. Like, I ended up even like re-uploading everything, re-uploading everything from Vimeo over to YouTube because I figured there were less issues because Vimeo changed a bunch of stuff, which I assumed was what screwed everything up. And then it was working fine. And then like a year ago, then YouTube stopped working. Like, I would try to view a preview of one of the things I'm working on now, and none of the YouTube videos would load. I was like, what the F, man? Because, yeah, YouTube changed something, and now there's issues with the program. Oh, well. Ms. Christina King. Well, she was not in the Peanuts comics. I don't think. Maybe she read them, and that's why she says rats. I think that's why I say fantastic. All right, so that'll be the next step, and then the step after that. This is where things get really funny, or start getting funny. Let's see. Instead of Christ is king, Christina is king. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. I might as well just do a 7/4. Have it all in one bar. Going to create a sweep picking course as well. Well, yeah, eventually. Especially when I'm better at it. Video correspondence student asked me basically some advice on sweep picking or how I would go about getting better at it. So I started putting this together last week. It'll start by being just a Patreon lesson and eventually turn into more of a course type thing. Or maybe I should just start with the whole course. I don't know. I do want to have a finger tapping thing. It's not going to involve like the whole 8 finger tapping stuff, just more of the those kinds of things. If you get good at that, man, you can create some insanely fast-sounding things. So I figured that's worth putting the thing together. I want to call it What's Tappinin'. Because I like stupid jokes. Hell yeah. You don't see too much finger tapping anymore, I don't think. I guess it'd be fair to add in, just do it the same way. Okay. Oops. Oh, I put the chord in the wrong thing. There we go. How many students are you currently working with on the one-on-one sessions? Let me look. Chulser, hi. Did you say hi earlier? I must have missed. I'm sorry. Is the Patreon platform cost effective as when I purchased these courses back in 2021? Well, right now the lowest tier is $5 a month. You get over 100 different lessons on that. God, I cannot talk. The tier with the training programs, all the instruction courses, that's $15 a month. And so it's basically instant access to any updates that I have. And I just I want to continue to update and update and update stuff. It's like right now, I got the speed picking training program, which is way more in depth than the one that you first got. Way more in depth. Legato training program, speed training is on there. That's almost finished. The most of it's done. I still need to make videos for all that. Scale run, speed training program is on there. Down picking, I call this one Down with the Pickness. Down picking training is on there. So to really push speed and endurance, that's like halfway done so far. Still, we'll be adding more to it. And then, apparently sweep picking is going to be coming up as well as finger tapping. So basically, like anything involving metal-based technique training programs, like speed training programs that are based off of progressive overload. So basically gym-style training, but for guitar, for shred guitar. And again, just going to keep adding and adding and adding and updating as we go. So, yeah. I'll let everyone else decide if it's cost effective. And the more people I have on there, well, of course I want more people on there because then I can afford the time to make more of these things, and then we mutually benefit from it. You guys give me a little bit of money, and I give you, material, and then the more people we got joining in, and, synchronicity, right? Right. Let's see, students I have, 1, 2, whoops, I need to move that folder. he had to stop. Come on, damn it. Move. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So 17 one-on-one. Correspondence, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 correspondence. So 17, video, not video. Skype. It used to be Skype. So on Teams now. So live one-on-one lessons 17, video correspondence 10. Joe, hello, sir. And still to this day use master preps to measure dance picking endurance. Now, did you know that when they recorded that, they actually recorded it slower than how it's played back, and they sped it up? I learned that recently, within this past year. And it's like there's just more proof that every album you listen to is a lie. Oh, very busy. Fucking swamped, man. Okay, so we're going to do that. And next... Okay, I mean, I could do that many. It'd be kind of a silly bar, but whatever. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, 6 and 7 and 8 and 9. Fuck it. Let's do it. All right, I'm almost done putting steps in here because I want to move on to the next thing. We start discussing stuff. Especially since we got more and more people in the chat, so good. I heard the whole thing was sped up. This way, they recorded the whole thing slow, so this way when they did speed it up, everything was in pitch, at the pitch that they wanted, as well as it sounded as tight as they wanted it to be. And then people have defended it by saying, well, they play it faster live. And I was like, fair enough. I suppose you could look at it that way. Okay, what have I done? That's what I did. There. I don't know. Like, I'm fine with making some edits in recording, especially once you've already spent a bunch of time recording, like copying and pasting certain things. For a student I worked with who was doing a bunch of recording, and I was writing and recording bass for his material. I had some arpeggiated bass stuff, and I listened back to it. I was like, well, that sounds all off time. So instead of putting in a bunch of effort to practice it and get everything, sounding as good as I'd want it to be, I chopped things up, moved the notes around to make it fit the grid better. But I was on being paid by the hour to do these things, or paid by the session. I needed to get it done instead of spending a bunch of time on it. Now, my own personal stuff, I couldn't do that for my own thing. I'll, punch in and do little chunks, little sections of it, whatnot. But to record things slow and then speed it up, I couldn't live with myself. I would be just so upset with myself. Like, no, it has to be better than that. I don't understand how people are okay with that. Recording slow, like recording their solos at, half speed or 75% speed and then speeding it up so it sounds really robotic and MIDI sounding and all that. I was like, how can you be proud of that? How? How the hell can you be proud of that? I don't know. Freya turned 8 years old today. 8 years of terror. Did you do anything to celebrate? Yeah, so many layers of editing magic. Albums as a whole. Yeah. Hetfield reached the age where he is. Got alternate pick more. Uh-huh. Well, God, I mean, just playing that often for that long for so many years, I mean, just some serious wear and tear. Serious wear and tear on your joints and connective tissue and all that. All right, so we're going to start moving into the topics now. There's hardly any integrity with recording nowadays. Most modern music sounds like a video game. Yeah, it's, you know, when one student, he was asking me about how I felt regarding AI and AI-generated music. And I was like, you know, so much of what's going on with music before AI started being able to create, you know, produce songs and all that just by putting in a prompt. It's like music was kind of going that direction anyway on how it sounds. It's like so much of the human element has been removed. I don't like it. That's why a lot of modern metal stuff, I just like, it sounds just too, it's too polished. It's just watered down. It's, bleh. I guess that ties into the question you asked me. That's why, like, some bands, like, it sounds much better in, like, the 80s or 90s versus nowadays. Like Slayer. You listen to the, what was it? As I looked up that World Painted Blood song, and I was pretty sure that was, like, one of the newest albums they did, and it was actually, I think the last one Jeff Hanneman was on. I never got into that one. It just felt flat. It's like they were trying to be what they weren't. But the album before that, actually surprised I didn't get into that one sooner. But there's like a certain level of aggression that the older Slayer had that was less polished, but it just sounded and felt better. Just, it's, yeah, more intense. Total and absolute terror, absolutely. Some are more interested in being perceived as tight players rather than owning the skill. Yeah. And I'm sure a lot of it has to do with record labels and producers and whatnot saying, no, it has to be this way. And, you know, just people doing what the boss says. At least, I don't think these guys sound overly polished at all. I mean, certainly sounds a bit more polished up than it used to be, but, you know, they still record live in studio. They get in there and they actually play it, you know. Okay. Topics. Let's get the topics up. Current topic. It is not that. So yes, everything is quite unscripted. I'm just going off the top of my head. But everything will be edited down to something more watchable. Can using a metronome be detrimental? And actually, Jesse in the chat asked me this. And that's why I put it in. You know, that's actually a decent topic, decent thing to discuss, since the brand name is the Metronome Method now. No longer Mile High Shred. The Mile High Shred is dead. See what you mean? Classic Slayer is a great example of humanity and rightness. Even the production, as primitive as it is, prefer it over the modern, polished, all-in-your-face masters. Yeah, absolutely. It just sounds better. It's just angrier. Like another band I grew up on, Crocus. I remember getting an album of theirs. early 2000s, and it just didn't sound right. It's because it was too polished. It's like it was too clean. The recordings were too clean. And, they're more hard rock than they are heavy metal. But, hard rock is not supposed to sound nice. Put some fucking dirt on it, damn it. Like, make it rough. It's supposed to be rough. Yeah. Yes. Strength in numbers for the Patreon platform. Absolutely. Because the more people more people who are interested in being a part of that, the subscription, and I hope I'm keeping the price, fairly, reasonable. But I also want to make sure I'm giving good value for it, too. I don't want people just to give me money for the sake of it. I want to put more and more material out. But, the more one-on-one students I have to work with in order to make ends meet, the less time I have for Patreon, for creating lessons and all that stuff for everybody else to use. So the more people I get over to Patreon and grow that means that money grows, which means I have more time to devote to things like this, streaming more often, making courses, making lessons on all kinds of fun stuff. So, yeah. Okay, so let's get to the thing on there. Can using a metronome be detrimental? Depends on, I think the person. As we're discussing now during the stream, this idea of losing humanity. Now, yeah, if you're always playing to a grid, you could make the argument that it is detrimental, but let's see. How do I go about answering this? Why am I such a big fan of the metronome? For me, it's the tool that helped me push my speed as fast as it has gotten. So my guitar teacher, Eric Morrison, he's out here in Sacramento, still doing stuff in person. Sac Valley Guitar, that's the name of his business, if anyone in Sacramento wants one-on-one lessons. But yeah, he told me if I want to get faster, get a metronome, start with the thing slow, whatever you're working on, play it correctly, and then just increase the metronome by 1 or 2 clicks. So this was like an old analog style metronome that had preset tempos on a dial. So I did that. I just drilled the crap out of so many things to get faster. And, whenever I would write something of my own, I could not play up to the speed I wanted. I just worked it up with the metronome until I could finally do it. So I find that the metronome, when used correctly, that's a big thing because a lot of people don't use it correctly. But when you use it correctly, you can drastically reduce practice time, drastically reduce the amount of time it takes you to get better at things. So where can it be detrimental? I have one student who basically, we could say, refused to do any practice without a metronome. So whenever I'd ask him to play what he had been working on without a metronome, just to hear him do it, hopefully reduce restriction, so, he could just go at his own pace and just see what naturally happens, he couldn't do it because he would never do anything but play with a metronome. So that is an example of when a metronome can be detrimental. If you always play with a metronome and you get to the point you cannot play without a metronome, yeah, I'd say that's detrimental. That's quite detrimental. You need to be able to play without it. You want to be able to play with both, with and without the metronome. So, let's see. So let's say you're working on scale run stuff. Yes, definitely, I recommend doing it with a metronome, so this way you can continually push higher and higher and higher tempos. This way you can progressively make things more and more difficult, continue to challenge yourself with new tempos to try and reach. This way you get faster and faster and faster. It's also great for endurance stuff. So let's say you're working up your scale run stuff or working up a scale run, whatever, and you want to be able to play those things for longer periods of time, same thing. Same thing. Voice crack. Same idea. You know, you pick a tempo that you can play for however long you want, maybe a minute, and then you just bump the metronome up a little bit more, play a minute again, bump it up a little bit more, play a minute again. So you can use it for pushing your speed as well as endurance, giving yourself some number to shoot for. But doing it without the metronome is also good because this way you can let your body kind of regulate the speed for you. You want to make sure you can hear everything without the metronome. This way you can really focus on clarity and making sure your technique is looking and sounding well or sounding good, whatever. So yeah, basically you want to be able to play what you want to play with and without a metronome. Because if you have to have a metronome 100% of the time to play things, that's bad. The other thing is, where it could be detrimental, is always working things up. If you have to always work things up to play, that's a problem. You do need times where, or periods of playing, periods of practice, where you just do it. You just go for it. Because, the metronome is a tool to help push you faster. But, don't you want to be able to just play fast right away? You need to do that too. You need to have times where you just go for it. You don't need a metronome on. Just start playing fast, whatever it is that you want to play, what you've been working on. Just do it. Do the thing. So that's an example of when using a metronome can be detrimental. If you always have to work things up with the metronome instead of just going for it. So you need to be able to have times of just going for it. Make sure you do that if you want to play fast on a regular basis. Don't always work things up. Definitely work things up, but also to have some time where you just do the thing. Just play fast right away. Person who asked, I got to say these things as if I'm editing it down, so I'm saying it this way. The person who asked this question, can using a metronome be detrimental? If I remember correctly, he said, would that interfere with the human aspect of the small tempo changes and fluctuations that happen when you play without a metronome if you're playing like a live drummer? Because that is how things used to be done a lot of times, and some bands will still do that, playing without a click track and just playing with the drummer. The drummer is the one setting the tempo. I don't think it would cause much of an issue if you learn to follow the metronome properly, because if you're just really locked into what the drummer is doing, I think you should be fine. You should be fine following a drummer when they increase the speed or slow down a little bit, because that is your metronome. And now if they're changing the speed by 20 or 30 beats per minute every few bars, okay, that's a big problem, and then everyone should be on a click track, because if you're going to have ridiculous tempo changes like that, well, maybe that's a songwriting thing. If it's a songwriting thing, then you could say it's not ridiculous because it could be done on purpose. But if the drummer is that bad, or he's constantly going up and down that much, well, then the drummer needs to learn how to follow a metronome, I'd say. But yeah, there is something to be said for playing or recording music without a click track or without a metronome, and allowing the drummer to gradually slow down and speed up depending on the energy or the feel of the song. So, yes, it's detrimental to the human aspect of how music feels if it's always locked to a grid. So, how could you combat something like that in, for me, I don't have a live drummer. I program everything. You could program small tempo changes in your music if you wanted to, if the energy feels like it needs to come down a little bit, maybe slow it down by a few beats per minute, and then when the energy picks back up, crank it up just a few more beats per minute kind of thing. And that could potentially add some more human-sounding elements to it. Now, this is where I think AI could really come into play and help with these sorts of things as AI gets better, and this is one reason why I am pro AI. It depends on how you use it. It's just a tool, like anything else. That's how I feel about it. Um, as AI gets better, wouldn't it be cool if it could take programmed drums and add a little bit of human element to it? So it adds a little bit of imperfection on purpose so it sounds like a more realistic human drummer. I think that would be awesome. I think that'd be great, and then add like more dynamics in how the drums sound. Because why do we have to have all the drums sound like every single hit is 100% the same? What the hell was the point of having a human drummer play anything if you're just going to make it sound like a drum machine at the end of the day? If you're going to make the drum sound like a machine did it, why waste your time playing it in the studio? So, there we go. Those are my examples or my thoughts on when using a metronome can be detrimental. Go to the comments here. Let's see. Makes sense. Dependency on it could be bad. Yes. Mr. Taylor, that's where tapping your foot comes in. Yes, tapping the foot along with the drummer. Important. Can I play Baki the Rock solo? I have never heard of it. So, no, I'm sorry. One way I can see it being maybe not detrimental but robotic is when a drummer is using it to play live. I know many want to hear the song exactly like the album, but not when just hear the album then. Yeah, I guess if a band uses like, a bunch of backing tracks or sound effects for certain things, it makes sense that you'd want to have the drummer following a click, so this way the program stuff comes in at the right time. Yeah, AI drummers would make sense. Right now, drums have the ability to quantize, but the quantize is still to a grid. Yep, and there's no real tempo fluctuation. So yeah, like the AI is making everything sound 100%. I mean, we basically have been using AI in music for a while anyway. I mean, look at Melodyne. How is that not AI? I mean, I think it is. But, I'm glad. I have heard, I think Iron Maiden very rarely would use any kind of click or metronome or whatever live. I did read that Nico McBrain, for their song The Wicker Man, he did use a metronome for that because during the chorus, he's doing the with one foot, and that was actually the first time I heard Iron Maiden's kick drum actually in the mix very well. Took long enough for that. I was like, did they start using double kick? That's one thing about old recordings. Like, man, it's like Iron Maiden doing all these remasters, whatnot. I was like, just redo the kick, please. Can you please make the kick drum stand out well? Because there's, man, it adds so much to it. When I first, off the Brave New World album, I've actually heard the kick drum really obvious for the first time. It didn't sound like an old 70s kick drum where it's like a it actually had like doom doom doom, real thud and bit of a click to it. But yeah, because to make sure he could actually play that part, he had a metronome for that song, because if they end up playing it too fast, he'd be screwed. He wouldn't be able to keep up the foot tapping. Okay, there is that topic. Okay. This is actually going to be like another kind of lesson-making thing. But this won't take too long. Here I go, assuming again. Shit. So, student had... Okay, let me actually get this going here. Improve fret hand thumb muting. Chords. So I've had some students do this stuff before. Where they're having a rough time muting things. What's happening here? Guitar Pro's acting funny. Okay. Well, they're having a tough time getting their thumb over the top of the neck for muting. So, like when I'm playing power chords here, see my thumb is over the top. It really helps make sure that unwanted noise is muted, and it makes it much easier to just play crazily, Christ, just strum all nuts without worrying about that low E string ringing out. Now, sometimes, say you're going to play a chord like this, well, you can't really have your thumb over the top. In that case, your index finger would need to be up underneath the adjacent string. And like using that 7 string back there, boy, does that make it an absolute pain in the ass, absolute nightmare to get that thumb over the top for many things. So thumb over the top is not always, a good idea or even physically possible for some things. However, if you can get used to the thumb being over the top for muting purposes, I think it's really, really helpful. For like chord stuff, even just things like that, because that thumb going over the top can really helps keep things clean and tight. So what I've had some people do seems to help basically train your hand to get used to keeping your thumb over the top, and that's playing some chords with your thumb. Yeah, I need to get a compressor for that. I wonder, maybe if I, here. The guitar has been turned down a bit. Maybe that'll level things out more. Check, 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 check. Hey, hey, hey. Hopefully that cuts through better. 1, 2. No, that's fine. Feedback on that sort of stuff is very helpful, because I don't want anyone struggling to hear what the hell I'm saying. Hopefully the discussion on Metronome being detrimental wasn't too quiet. Maybe I didn't play a lot during that, or at all, so perhaps that'll work out fine. Yeah. Where the hell did my head go? Looking relaxed during the down picking. Well, good. I don't know. Thank you. I mean, it takes concentration for sure. It's like anything else. I've been told I look like I'm bored while doing shred stuff, but it's just, I blame my autistic face for that. I'm just focused, concentrated, so my face just like look, a resting bored face while playing. Okay, so I got to remember this setting for when I do live stuff, because I got to turn up the gain on the preamp on the interface when I'm recording stuff with Guitar Pro for the training programs, and then turn it down for this sort of thing. Okay, I'm learning, dagnabbit. So yeah, we're actually gonna go clean for this. So actually, what I recommend people do is start with something like this. You're going to hold the low note with your thumb. And you can start with like your 4th finger if need be, because it is easier to hit the stretch this way. But the idea is you play this, and you move down a fret. Make sure you can hear all the notes as you're playing it. A slapback echo. Really? That is so weird. I wonder... I don't know what would be picking it up. So I don't see anything else turned on. Well, crap. He's not hearing that. Well, hopefully when I listen to the mix back after it's downloaded, it's not causing too many issues. But yeah, so basically just move down one fret at a time. Make sure you hear all the notes. And like when you reach a spot, like maybe like your fingers collapse, or like you're not able to hit all the notes, then just take your time, adjust your hand, get your fingers where they need to be, and then continue going further and further down. Oh, that's okay. I'd rather... Jesus, that fucking picture. I'd rather be told when things sound funny so I can try and make it better. So yeah, basically you start with that, and then, you know, just gradually get used to your thumb being over the top with the chords like this. Just slowly stretch a bit more. Now, once you are done doing that with the pinky, go back up and start doing the process again, but this time with your ring finger down. Same idea. Just slowly work your way down. Take your time with it. There's no need for a metronome on this one. So this way, when you get to a spot where, like, maybe like that, your thumb's not hitting the note anymore, just do what you got to do. Get that thumb over the top. Move your wrist, move your arm, do what you got to do. Yet, well, you know, this is still a good learning moment for us. So if somebody else has like an echo kind of thing, I can ask them, is it possible you have a second tab open? And then we can help each other out there. So yeah, say you move to a spot, you know, and maybe the thumb is not fretting anymore. You know, try and wiggle your thumb around, reposition it, move your wrist, move your arm. Just kind of do what you got to do. Figure out how to get that thing up there. And you can even like start by like, okay, the thumb's on there. Okay, now the index is sounding good, and then boom. So yeah, just add one digit at a time if you need to, and then continue making your way down until you reach the bottom. So, starting with that shape, and then really the other shape, I'll end up tabbing out the full thing here. Okay, you know what? Let's just knock it out real quick. Okay. All right, now let's show a little Guitar Pro trick in case somebody does not know this. It can be very helpful with inputting things quickly. I gotta find my display capture right. There it is. Okay, So I'm just going to copy and paste this a bunch of times. So that'll be 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. So right now, you see all this stuff right here. If you hit Control, Alt, and the letter D at once, that's how you can take those things on and off, and then you can like add frets like this. And not add frets. You can change how many bars are being shown per line. So what I'm going to do is highlight all this, go up to Tools, hit Transpose, and move down 1 semitone. Then I'm going to move this over here, and then move this down a semitone. This way I'm not typing the same thing, or basically typing it over and over and over again, because that would suck. So this saves a bunch of time. Whoops. Of course, sometimes it's easier just to re-highlight things. Oops, I did that wrong. And actually, I have one too many bars anyway. Alright, so delete that. Okay, so that's step 1 right there. Okay, just call that step 1. Oops. So step 2 is basically going to be the same thing. The only difference is, instead of using the pinky, you're going to use the ring finger. Okay. Oops. Come on. Okay, and then the third step, thing to do next is we're going to add in, so after we did that shape, what I have students do, or the thing to do, is have all 3 fingers, your first, third, and fourth finger down, just your standard 3-string power chord shape, and still starting with your thumb. And then same idea, just start slowly going down, make sure all the notes sound correct. And then something you can do, well, actually, you need to tab that out first and then talk about what else you can do to go from holding it with your thumb to not holding it and just going to the actual muting part. Let me read the comments, though. Guitar was sounding thick AF. Well, too bad I can't just make it sound like that all the time. Any good techniques for keeping the thumb straight? My digits are short and can use some exercises that could help. Like, are you talking about keeping it straight, like when you're doing like scale type things and actually keeping it behind your hand? You can also hold Shift, Alt, and down or up arrows to change semitone or highlighted notes. What? Shift, Alt. What the? Thank you. I did not know that. What the? Holy dude. That's fucking awesome. Thank you. I didn't know you could do that. Can I highlight the whole thing and do that? Oh my God. You can highlight the whole thing and do that. Holy shit. Man, you just saved me a fuck ton of time. Oh my God. That is awesome. Holy shit. Wow. Okay. Fucking thank you. Jesus. Yeah. All about saving time. Oh man, great. Okay, so keeping the thumb straight. I wonder if is it a matter of keeping the thumb straight, or is it like actually hitting the stretches for such a thing? Because like if maybe doing something like that where you just like hold down stretchy chords where your thumb has to be in the correct position or is basically impossible, maybe something like that. Have you done anything like that before? Let me tab out this next shape here. Oh wow, what a game changer. Let's just switch to triplets on this. What does it say? 12, 11, 13, 13. All right. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so we're gonna do oh my God. Look at that. Dude. Thank you so much. That is, yeah, that is life-changing. Oh my God. All the possibilities now. Holy crap. I missed something. So 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and then I need one more. Okay, did I miss it up here? 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. I missed the 4. I missed the 4. Okay. Shit. That's fine. Oops. Wrong one. Shift Alt. There we go. There. Okay, so that's step 3. Let ring. And then thank you. Okay, so yeah, I was going to say, so after going through arpeggiating these chords to make sure you can go between holding the chord and just muting with your thumb, just lightly touch the low E string. So you can do something like that. And of course, you can just strum it as well. And make sure you can hear the muted or the thumb making a note and then not making a note. Make sure you got it right. Let's try that in different places. Make sure your thumb is behaving. So there we go. Using the thumb to get better at muting. God damn it. Using the thumb with chords to get better at muting with the thumb. And that ends this topic. Without me tabbing it out, so I can answer your question real quick, and maybe I can just this be a fast one. Change this around a moment. You know what? We're just going to turn it into a topic right now. Current topic. Improve fret hand stretch. I should tab it out anyway. Oh, wow. Streams are going on just about an hour and 20 minutes, looks like. Yep. Whew, no wonder I'm starting to feel it. So, okay, stretching, yeah. So, let's change back to the clean sound. So, let's just get the Guitar Pro back up. Well, good. This is actually quite good. Getting topics done. We're getting things made. That one. Yeah, okay. So this is a very similar idea to the previous thing. You're going to use a chord. You're going to arpeggiate the chord and gradually go further and further down. Now, just like thumb placement, just to make sure you understand, because of course I don't know what you know, so maybe you already know this. But basically, when you have your thumb behind your hand, like it needs to be basically like where your middle finger would be. That's a pretty good spot to aim for. So let's say you're holding the 5th, 7th, and 9th fret, or you're doing something like that. Your thumb should be basically almost like right behind where the 6th fret is, like the actual fret itself. Maybe a little bit past that, but just kind of like in the middle there. You could also be aiming for the 7th fret itself, but just somewhere in the middle back there. Changing how you hold your wrist and your arm can be very helpful. And for me, I basically had to relearn how I hold some things, or like how I position my arm, because I got a ganglion cyst once because of keeping my wrist in basically like a stretched position too much. And it's like it was bent like this a lot. And so just constant pulling and pulling and pulling. And I had some resistance bands on my fingers, which exacerbated the problem. Made the problem a hell of a lot worse. And I was being an idiot, thinking, push through the pain, no gain kind of thing. And that's when I learned never, ever, ever push joint pain or connective tissue pain. Muscle pain, fine. That's how we build muscle and get stronger. You got to do it. So, yeah, if you feel any weird pain when you're doing it, like with the stretching stuff, You may need to basically try and keep your wrists as straight as you can if you're feeling pain around there. So basically, like normally I would do a chord like this, right? But I've had to start doing it more like this. So I have to like reposition my elbow, my shoulder to try and keep my wrist as straight as possible. So whether you use your ring finger or your middle finger for this sort of thing, it doesn't really matter. What matters is consistency and what feels best for you. So for me, it actually feels better to use my ring finger for the most part. A lot of times I'll actually feel that bad pain coming in if I use my middle finger instead. Of course, it depends on what's being played, but, you know. So basically, yeah, same idea as the other thing. Recommend just start with holding this chord shape. Yeah, the other chord shape what we had was, maybe I can remember to edit this in. So for the thumb video, what we had basically a major 7 no 5. There's your root note, there is the third interval, there is the 7th interval. And then when we add the pinky in, well, that's just an octave of the third interval. So 7 no 5, major 7 no 5, that's what the thumb muting chord, or the thumb chord, was using. For this one, we have a variation, or version. We got a suspended second. We have the root note, the 5, and sometimes people refer to that as the 9th interval, but because there is no third interval present, usually it's referred to as a second. So we're just playing the second interval an octave higher than where it usually is. But anyway, it's a sus2, suspended second. And as you move from one chord to the next, just moving down one fret at a time, just make sure everything is heard well. And then when you get to a spot where, like, you know, maybe that happens, like the pinky caves in or slides into the wrong fret, or maybe you're kind of like in that funny spot where you're like almost like on the fret itself, so you're not getting a good sound. Just take your time, make whatever adjustments you need to with your fingers, with your wrist, arm, shoulder, all that. Thumb, of course. And just make it sound good. And then just kind of ease your way down one fret at a time. And that will definitely help with the stretch there. And then, so basically you have that chord shape, and then there's another one. You know, notice I tab it all out, but I don't want to leave this. We'll just say step 1 for that. Now for this next one, it's I would say significantly more difficult because you're gonna have to have your fingers on the tips to make this one work. So the more advanced one is a diminished shape. See, trying to train middle finger to do more, actually, thanks to my wrist being one of my main issues. You're welcome. Yeah, if using your middle finger helps, then definitely do that, because, you know, oh man, you know, that just reminded me, somebody said something about tensing up when playing like groups of 3. I just remembered I saw that comment and I did not reply to it. So, like, the idea of tension when you're playing, like, I am against this idea that you have to have 0 tension when you play. When you are trying to make yourself faster, have more endurance, Tension's part of it. Like when I'm doing this stuff. There's tension. There's definitely tension involved. I mean, you can see my arm flexing. You don't flex relaxed. So there's tension, but you know there's bad tension and there's good tension. You need to find that middle ground where you're not being a wet noodle or a limp noodle. And with the sweep picking practice I have been doing, sometimes I would purposely make myself more tense in order to try and force my fingers to hit what I want to play. And it works. It can work for sure. And then the more you do stuff, the more relaxed you will become because you're used to the stuff. You're used to the movements and you don't have to be as tense and as rigid. So this idea like, oh, tension's the worst thing in the world when you're playing guitar. No, it's not. It just depends on what kind of tension it is. Now, that being said, yeah, joint pain, connective tissue pain, that's tension we never, ever want to push. But muscle tension, because you're flexing and you're really trying and you're going for it, that's part of the game. It's part of the process. You have to do it. You have to do it. And like when students are working on increasing their down picking speed and endurance, I tell them, I remind them like breathe when you're doing it. And when it gets rough, just muscle through it, man. Just go. Because you don't grow when you're comfortable. You do not grow and improve when you're comfortable. So you got to push. Damn it, push. So yeah, it's like, especially when you want to play fast, like, can you sprint with relaxed legs? No. So you can't pick fast, all relaxed, man. No, you got to push it. You got to push it. But yeah, the other chord here. The other chord to help with the stretching, the diminished shape. So, again, you can use your middle finger or your ring finger, either one, whatever works best for you is fine. But because you have to keep your fingers on the tips in order to hear everything, makes this, I feel, significantly more difficult. So you're going to reach a point where your pinky wants to go flat, and you're muting a string. So you gotta, again, just move your arm, move your thumb, move your wrist, do what you gotta do. Get those fingers on the tips, keep holding that stretch. And if your thumb's not in the right spot, your stretch ain't gonna work anyway. So this, I feel, is a really good way to make sure your thumb is behaving and doing what you want it to do. So try those out, and hopefully that'll help you improve your stretch as well as keep your thumb where it belongs. First person hearing bringing attention to this. Good. I keep talking about it. The idea that we have to be relaxed, always dismiss the benefits of tension and dynamics. Yeah, there is bad tension, but zero tension isn't. Yeah. You got to have the right amount. It's like I've tell students, like, if you're playing something like maybe this, like this, and you're just like, Okay, that's too much tension. You need to chill the fuck out. Just stop it. So yeah, there's proper tension and too much. We just don't want too much. Extremes of any kind with this stuff, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. Let's see. Can't spring with relaxed legs. Exactly. Pinky I don't have a big issue with as my fallback. Trying to get the other half of your hand to work better. Oh, so you use your pinky a lot. Most guitar players do the opposite. Most guitar players ignore that pinky. I got to try and get most of my students to use the thing. You're very welcome. Especially in metal, don't want to play metal relaxed. Yeah, that's no fun. Don't want to play with fake aggression if the song is asking to be rude. There you go. Now, I do have to remind some students, like, when they're trying to play fast, that you don't want to beat the crap out of the strings either, because there's an example of when, there is bad tension. Like, you do need to let the amp and the pickups, compression, all that stuff do its job and allow the notes to be heard that way. Because, and same thing with like doing aggressive palm muting stuff, like if you dig too hard into the palm mute, you can actually change the notes. You actually make things go sharp. And we don't want that either. But, definitely self-experimenting needs to happen with that experimentation to figure out, what is the right amount of tension for you. But, it just comes with experience. Stubby hands. I think everybody always has the wrong sized hands. Because I've heard, not saying that you're wrong, but it just reminds me of how, people say their hands are too short, or my hands are too thin, my hands are too long, my fingers are too big. It's like, nobody has the right size hands. Never. Okay. I know some death material. I don't know if I've listened to Pestilence. Sorry. I'm not saying I dislike them, but they're not bands that I listen to. I have tried to get into some death, but I know everyone's going to unfollow me now. I just never got into them. They never grabbed me. They never did. They're obviously fantastic musicians. They write well. They can play the shit out of their instruments for sure, but there's just something about it just never grabbed a hold of me. Maybe I just didn't give it enough time, listen to enough stuff. Yeah. Yes, you do have to adjust with what you have. Franco Romeo can shred with the best, then I believe we all can. I don't believe we all can. I think people shredding is very limited. And I do believe and promote there is a genetic component to it. Oh, you mean because of his hand size? Yeah. Yeah, shred speeds are above average speeds, which is one reason I think it sounds so impressive when people do that stuff, and why people that are learning, they hear those things and it's like, what the hell? But yeah, there's definitely a genetic component to being able to play like crazy and shred like a maniac. Certainly plenty of work that goes along with it, goes into it. I've definitely worked at it. I didn't just sit on my ass and just be able to play. But I say this with trying not to sound like I'm bragging, because I hate bragging, but especially with working with students, like, I pick things up quicker than a lot of people, like kids I went to school with. And the fact that I'm able to lock into that crazy twitch picking, I got the genetics for it. It's just like somebody in Mr. Olympia, saying they have the genetics for bodybuilding. I do not have the genetics for bodybuilding. I will never be as big and muscular as I want to be. I've had to accept that. But I can play fast. Faster than most people. I'm happy with that. So, yeah. Anyway. That's right, he did. Andy LaRocque did play with Death for one album. That's right. Yeah, Nightmare can actually shred, but it has more to do with other factors, not necessarily hand shape. That's true. Hand shape is not the biggest factor. I agree with that for sure. A lot of people also don't have the drive for it, or the autistic obsession you need to just spend all your time playing, and trying to perfect, and demanding perfection of yourself. Yeah, the drive, the ability to just be super disciplined with that stuff, definitely a genetic component to that too. It's hard to learn those kinds of things. It's like if you're not enjoying it from the get-go, you don't like the challenge from the get-go, you're probably not going to get too far with it. And sometimes people do have the passion for it, and they still can't do it. Of course, I wonder, what are they doing when I'm not looking at them, when they're not in their lessons? Like, are they really putting in as much effort as they say they are? Never know. You can never know. Although I've had to have some people that seem very passionate about what they do, and they seem to be putting in a bunch of effort, but, they just don't get the results that they want as fast as they want, and that's just how it goes sometimes. All right, we're going to do one more topic here, and time to wrap things up. This one's a bit of a student story. I don't know there's some bit of a learning thing with this. I'd be surprised if he remembers this, if he even watches any of these things that I do. So yeah, it was story time. I once had a student tell me to not tell him when he plays things wrong. He doesn't like being told when he plays things wrong. He does not like being told he plays things wrong. He knows when he plays things wrong, and he'll fix it himself. Lessons didn't last too much longer after that. As someone who cares about what he does, I have to tell you when you do something wrong, when you are taking lessons with me. I don't know what's going on in your mind. And like any teacher that you go to, like, we have to let you know when things are done incorrectly, so this way you can improve and have a better chance of playing things correctly. When we tell you things are done incorrectly, we're not trying to be jerks. We're doing it because we care, and we want you to get better. We want you to play well. We want you to get the most out of your lessons. So if I tell a student, if I tell you, you did something wrong, how it was wrong, why it was wrong, I'm doing so because I want to help you do it right. I like seeing my students improve and get better and succeed with what they're trying to do. I also feel stress when you guys make mistakes and you're struggling with something because I want you to get it. It's like you're watching a movie and you feel the suspense and you're like, come on, do it, do the thing. So, yeah. If you don't like being told when you're doing something wrong, I don't think lessons with an instructor is a good thing. You might just want to stick to self-instruction because, well, you're paying us to tell you when it's wrong. Damn it. There's my story. Time to start wrapping things up. I'm going to go through the comments here. I'll go ahead and turn this off. Get rid of that one. Where? Okay, there we go. We'll make that bigger for now, since we're wrapping things up. Let's see. Some people have it, some people don't. Yes, indeed. And he did like 5 solos on individual thought patterns. All right. Patience. The patience for it. Oh, yes, the patience for it. I see what you mean. Yeah, when I was talking about the genetics and all that stuff and the drive for it. Yes, patience. What did I say? I did a series on what it takes to be a shred guitar player, and I think I said something like, you need, what the hell was it? Like the drive of a warrior and the patience of a monk. Because you have to be willing to push yourself hard and understand you need patience for it. Have patience for it, because it's probably going to take longer than you think. Going to take longer than you want to get where you want to be. Not sure why it was always easy for you, but not so much for others. Scribbler says that. Then you probably got the gift, you got the genetics for it. Barely even needed your tuner. Well, it sounds like you got a good ear then. Metal Mark, my hometown, Houston, Texas. We have the Axe Murderers. We're murderers. Rusty Cooley, Joel Gregoire. Probably pronouncing that wrong. Reese Fleetwood and Adam Alvarado. I definitely know Rusty Cooley. The Watchtower guitars too. Boy, I'm really bad with names. I am so bad with names. Houston has a very active history. Indeed. It's the modern generation who got points for participating, who don't know how to process criticism. He was older than me. Well, he still is older than me. And this was maybe... Oh, man. This was back when I had my first office space. So definitely over 10 years ago. Oh, God. 10 to 15 years ago. So I know what you mean about the generation who get all the participation trophies, and I agree that that's a bunch of crap, and that is very detrimental to everybody around. That shit should not happen. It's not good for anybody. But I don't think that happened for him. I don't think it really happened for me either growing up. Maybe it started to near the end of my teenage years. I don't know. Yeah, that was an odd thing. See, I was there. We definitely got amplified in early 2000s. Yep, especially in Canada. Our anti-bullying campaigns got insane. As I'm not even sure what years Gen Z is. I need to look that up. Yep, older. So it's a stubborn old man instead of a young upstart. Yeah. If he was a kid, I could understand that more. But that is one reason I try and advertise or on the website say, like, I expect and want my students to work, put in the effort. This is... Yeah, we need to have fun with the lessons, of course. If it's not fun, don't do it. But yeah, I'm not here just to... Actually, that reminds me of another one. I highly doubt he watches this either. I might get in trouble. Scribbler, thanks for being on. Yeah, we're about to end the stream anyway. Thank you. Appreciate the sub. Yeah, let me know how it goes with the stretch and stuff. See if that helps out. One guy, he Basically, he stopped enjoying the lessons because he said I was too exacting. Basically, when he came in and he was not performing his lead guitar stuff well, I would tell him what he needs to do. And he wrote me an email saying how he was upset, why he was upset, and I worked with him. I changed things to make it more enjoyable for him, but I was like, yeah, of course. If you're doing something wrong, I'm going to tell you. Because you came to me to get better at playing lead, so, this is what it takes. Like, you need to do these things if you want to get better. Again, I'm not trying to be an ass. I'm sure I come across as an asshole to plenty of people. As the Big Lebowski said, you're not wrong, you're just an asshole. So I guess I'm not wrong, I'm just an asshole. Maybe I am wrong, I don't know. But I'm not trying to be one. But, somebody says, I want to do this thing. Okay, you need to do this in order to achieve it. And then they do it wrong. You're doing it wrong. Do this instead. Do this instead. You just tell me I'm wrong, and you tell me what I need to do when I'm wrong. Yes, that is correct. That's my job, damn it. Anyway, so yeah, the people don't like how I teach now. I'm like, that's okay. We don't have to do this. I've actually fired one guy because he started questioning the hell out of me after ignoring how he was supposed to do his lessons and practice and whatnot. And then he starts getting all uppity and questioning me one night, like, well, how come I need to do this and blah, 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 blah. And I was trying to explain to him exactly why I was having him do what he was doing during the lesson, and as calm as I possibly could. And at the end of that, I was like, that's okay. We don't have to, that's fine. Do how you want, because we're not doing this anymore. We're not working together anymore. I was like, I'm not going to sit here and be questioned like this. Just do your thing. I don't mind students ask me, why are we doing these things? Like, why? What's the purpose of it? Why do you want me to do these things? That's fine. But when you keep pushing back and pushing back and pushing back, fuck that. I'm not dealing with that shit. Stop wasting our time. So, yeah. Feelings don't care about facts. Goddamn right. Facts don't care about your feelings. Goddamn right. Oh, you're very welcome, Jesse. Oh, yeah, I'm going to be doing more. This is going to be a regular thing. I'm going to keep adding topics here and then keep editing things down into the... I actually mentioned that in the email I sent back to you today. Like, one of the goals is to get back to more regular content to try and grow things because, yeah, I also need a bit of a retirement plan myself, and I can't just keep adding students for the rest of my life. I need to have enough residual income from stuff like Patreon and things like that because, fuck, I'm almost 43, and I do have little twinges of things of repetitive strain and whatnot here and there. I gotta be careful. I don't know how much longer I can really push. I mean, I'm sure I got more than 10 years left, I'd imagine, but fuck, I can't keep doing the same amount of stuff when I'm 60, 70, Shit. One of the things about being self-employed. Students need to be receptive to improve as a guitar people. I would, you right? That's what I would like. Most students are great, though. I mean, they really are. Even the ones that struggle, like, I look like a fucking thumb. That's why I put that in the image thing. It's like, Jesus Christ, that front-facing camera on the phone is like, good God. Well, I'd say the $15 a month thing is because, well, you get the training programs with it, and those are the things that you're going to get the most value from. In terms of the progressive overload training to have the material and the steps to push yourself faster, know when to move on to the next step, things like that. So if you haven't tried it yet, a week free. You can check out the whole thing free for a week, and whatever you download, you get to keep. So you can download all the guitar profiles you can find. And yeah, see if it's something that you feel would be worthwhile. Let's see. I think that about does it. So, okay, remaining topics though, and again, like as people ask questions or make suggestions, I'll add to the list whenever, it's a new thing. Well, even if it's not a new thing, like if somebody asks something I've covered before in a stream, I'll go over it again. I probably won't make another video on it for a while, but not everybody sees everything, and I know some stuff it needs to be repeated and worth repeating. But anyway, this is coming up next week, so it's going to be the same time, so starting 2 p.m. Pacific time zone. So I'm going to write a little bit more for that sweep picking progression, and basically until all that's done, or at least the main thing, or at least the A minor chord. I don't know. Anyway, so when starting with complicated fingering is better than simple. So this is about how, notice a student was basically is usually his ring finger and pinky finger are like stuck together. So he's like doing a fairly simple drill, just like putting your fingers down like this, and these two fingers would just get stuck. He would like do dun 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 dun, and like one repetition through, he'd separate the fingers, and then the next repetition they'd be together. So thinking maybe for some people, and I'm trying this with him and some others right now, maybe doing the more complicated stuff first instead of the really simple stuff is a better idea. So this way you gain more awareness of what your fingers are doing. Because I think if it's too simple, then your awareness gets kind of lazy, and you don't really notice when things are off and they're incorrect. So I'm really big on starting simple and gradually getting more and more difficult. However, sometimes, everybody's different. Everyone's always learning, and everybody always learns in different ways. So what works great for one person is going to be terrible for another. So I'm thinking maybe they need to have more complicated things so they gain more awareness of their fingers. So when we go back to the simple stuff, they got a much better chance of getting really fast with it and, accurate and knowing when it's wrong and whatnot. Next topic will be, let's see. Yeah. People start playing faster when they make a mistake to try saving time when redoing something, but end up making more mistakes. So like, say they're running through some scale stuff to show that they have it memorized. They'll make a mistake, and then they try and play through the scale faster. They make another mistake, and then they try and play it even faster, and then they make more mistakes. It's like, the idea is stop trying to play it faster to get through it faster. Slow down. This way you have time to think about what it is. You'll get through it faster if you actually slow down and think about what you're doing instead of just trying to slam your way through it. So that's going to be another topic. Next one is going to be the awkward middle speeds. So sure, everyone who's done shred practice has experienced this. You got, kind of slow speeds, fine, medium speeds, fine, and then you reach this weird transition, like going into the faster speeds. Like before you reach your really fast speeds, everything just feels strange and awkward and just clumsy. And then finally it's fast, when you get to a fast enough speed, everything feels fine again. So just going to talk about that, the awkward middle speeds. Shortcuts make things take longer. Yeah, shortcuts with guitar playing, they don't work. They don't work. They always make things take longer as far as what I've seen, what people consider shortcuts, they don't work. Shred-friendly fretboard patterns. I've been wanting to talk about that one for a bit because, like, there's these shapes right in here. Man, they're just so freaking convenient. They're just right there. I haven't seen anyone talk about that, so I figured that'd be worth sharing. Just kind of seeing those things. And then, strumming with an open hand versus a fist. Because working with one student, he tends to have a fist when he's strumming, and he gets his thumb moving in a way that we're trying to to prevent. But when he strummed with the hand open, his thumb was doing what we want it to do. So I figured that'd be a worthwhile thing to cover. And then something I did today, going to slower tempos to improve timing, like doing 30-second notes instead of 16s. And I've seen this happen with a few students. It's like, I do believe you know, to help train your ear to hear things fast, you need to practice with a fast metronome. That's why, you know, working things up to 240 with eighth notes, I still think is a really good idea before you switch over to 16s and work that up, and where you got the 4 notes a click instead of the 2. So this way you're getting your ear used to hearing the fast stuff. But sometimes things are really complicated, and maybe, again, person-to-person thing, maybe you have a better time getting the timing correct, a better time with the timing. Your rhythm will be better, your timing will be better if you know, after you work it up, let's say, again, like you're doing a 16th note pattern, maybe you get up to like 150, or no, let's go fast. Let's say you get up to 200. And then after that, you just can't follow it anymore. So then, you know, maybe go back down to 100, or even a little bit slower so you can readjust, and then go up with 30-second notes instead. So this way you can line up with the click better again. Anyway, those are the topics I got ready to go, and I'll add in more stuff as the material pops up. And that's going to be it, except for the last question. Do I like Chris Olivia from Sabotage? You know, one of these days you're going to ask about a guitar player or a band that I actually listen to. He was a great player, for sure, from what I've heard. There's actually a couple Patreon lessons where somebody asked me to do some Sabotage solos. So yeah, actually did some Sabotage things, which were not easy. Not easy at all. Yes, we'll see you tomorrow. I should have my other guitars back from being repaired. I was supposed to have them last week, but the luthier was sick. So hopefully tomorrow. Yeah. All right. Thank everybody who came in and participated in the stream, who watched the stream, who watches the archive stream, all that stuff you gotta say. But I do mean it. Thank you. And that's it. I will stream again on Monday, most likely for just my regular practice. The lesson stuff will be on Friday again. That's it. Thank you. See you all on the next one.